This podcast contains some magical adult language. Listener discretion is advised. And sorry, Mom.
I'm going to Disney World. I'm going to...
Whoa. You're not Mickey Mouse, you're a rat.
Rat smack! Besides, they're tourists. What do they know?
Welcome to Rat Castle, a progressive chat about theme park magic without the pixie dust. And I am, howdy, y'all. I am your host, Nathan Hartman. And with me tonight are two of my partners, a country bear himself, of California country. It's Dave Cobb. Hello, Dave Cobb.
Hi, everybody.
And of course, fresh from the land of the rising sun, Victoria, welcome back to America. It's been great since you've been gone.
Oh, I heard and saw.
Yeah,
So great.
it's all been
So
good.
great.
Hey, you know what? Japan had its own issues in our certain qualms, so I think you brought it back with you, and this is maybe just a hair your fault.
That's all.
That's no, of course not. But yeah, we will have, as we've been telling people are getting excited. We'll have a big ole episode where you and I and Sarah is like still there or like is literally on a plane back. I'm not sure.
I think she was about to be back. Tomorrow.
So once she's back, we'll have a big old episode. But give us your 1 minute review of Japan. What did you think?
Well, it wasn't too big of a culture shock. I missed the toilets. So I'm not even joking. I missed the toilets so freaking much. But no, It was really good. Everyone was very kind. No one bothered me. Food was great. Everything was affordable. The yen was weak, so it was pretty much in my favor the whole trip up until I left and realized. So I kind of. But otherwise, I would do it again.
That's the tricky part, though. When the yen is weak, my pocketbook is also weak because it makes you think, it tricks your brain into being like, oh, just do a little more, and then that adds up over time.
Especially with the food, especially at the theme parks, I was 2 pounds away from being overweight on my suitcase. I'm not even joking.
Let's see here. You spent 1 day at Universal, is that correct?
No, we took Universal out just for time.
Oh, okay.
So we ended up actually just adding. I added another Tokyo Disney Sea Day.
Okay, so you did 2 Disney Sea days and 1 Disneyland day.
Yeah.
Nice. I think that's about right. I did 3 days because I got Fantasy Springs in there. And you can do 3 days at Disney Sea. I think maybe the first time you go. After that, maybe not so much.
I pretty much got Tokyo Disneyland done in a day. So.
Yeah, especially if you're kind of used to certain things. It's like, I don't know. There are certain things too. It's like everyone really loves that Baymax ride, and I was like, I don't need to ride the Baymax. For me, it wasn't the thing
watching
it. The Baymax ride.
I skipped the Baymax ride. Yeah.
I'm fine with watching it and watching them do their little dance and sing along. That's the fun
dance
part,
was incredible. I was like, there's a dance for every song, and then I didn't know there was a cult following, so we're sitting there and there's just people on the side. They already know the dances. They're doing
crazy.
The dances. I was just like...
And there's like 7 songs, right? Like something like that?
5 to 7, something like that. It's pretty crazy.
Absolutely insane.
I would rather that. Let's do more like dance combos instead of reciting lines in the Haunted Mansion stretching room. Like if we could just
bring back.
Wow, calling me out, Nathan.
Oh, I didn't know.
No, you're right. I've grown tired of it as well. I used to do it back in the day before all you kids started to do it. Get off my damn lawn. Yeah, and you're right. Too many people do it and ruin the experience of stuff.
Well, I don't even hear that anymore. I hear people just talking during it now.
Yeah, I mean it's been around. It's not exactly a surprise to a lot of people who have been there. The only time I've ever and I probably told this story, but the only time I ever did any sort of getting in kind of the show guest kind of putting myself into the world of other cat like people was on Star Tours. Anytime we got to the Hoth and we would be dangling there, I knew exactly when you fell, so I would always just go and sneeze really loud, and then it would go over, and it always went over like a dream. Like everyone always loved when I did it. So
the one thing I will admit to doing is on any depiction of the Little Mermaid singing Part of Your World, either in the ride or in one of the shows. What do you call them? Feet! I yell out feet. Street! God, she's such a bimbo. Anyway,
yeah.
It's the dad joke that I will not let go.
You shouldn't. We all deserve one. We all deserve one. Well, Victoria, we're very excited to hear more about Tokyo. I mean, honestly, I haven't even talked that much about like Tokyo proper on this program. So
yeah, you really haven't. You've been like waiting for us.
Kinda, yeah. I'm gonna have to bring out my photos to remember what I did on what days because it was so much.
It was a lot.
I am more than a little jelly. Just let's be honest.
Well,
I'm gonna be real.
I tell you what, I though it's much easier to be like, I'm going to go to Japan when like you're lucky and you can kind of risk it on standby. It's a little harder to be like, hey, next year let's all go to Japan. It's like, not exactly a cheap ticket.
No.
But it's also maybe not worth the stress of not knowing if you're going to get there or not. But yeah, especially when you end up spending all that money you would have spent on a ticket anyway. On stuff. Anyway, you know what? There's not a ton, but there is enough. So we should get to the news. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I do not have a cowboy hat, and if I did, I would be wearing it right now. Because the big news this week is that the Country Bear Musical Jamboree has debuted at Magic Kingdom. Yeehaw!
So this opened when I was flying back, which I did not know because of the time change. So this was a lot to look at on Twitter.
Yeah, I bet for sure. We're going to try something on the video podcast here. I always throw up images and stuff, but a little behind the scenes is the people on the show don't actually get to see them. They're looking at other links and stuff. So we're going to try instead. I'm going to share the presentation with them. So it might look a little different than it has in the past for those who are watching on the YouTubes. But here's the poster that was released. This one is designed by Kevin and Jody, if you know their stuff. They also designed the costumes for the characters in the actual show. Couple other things I learned. We'll talk a little bit about a little Country Bear thing that I was working on this week, and I released. I kind of Twitter know. I always forget his last name. AJ, who he's a voice actor. He does Gambit on the X-Men show. Locasio, that's right. And I sent it to him because he's a big theme park nerd, and he's like, "You probably want to know, like, I'm Henry." In the new show. So it was very, very strange to be talking to Henry the day all this kind of got dropped. But yeah, I mean, this is I love this poster. I genuinely think this is a good poster.
It's very old school. It feels like the old posters. It's really nice.
I love that. I don't know. I think do they still use the old school Walt Disney World logo, or is that only exclusively for this Country Bear poster? Because it feels
at the bottom there. I noted. I didn't see that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think maybe it's a case by case basis. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
They use it for the new Tiana's one, but I
do they? I was about to look that up. We were going to talk about that, and then it's very hard to put in Tiana's poster and get what you're wanting. And it's all the old ones. But anyway, something we'll make a side note here. They also put out a new Tiana's poster very recently, which is much
it does
better.
Yeah, it looks a lot better.
Cool.
That's
so
when they listen to feedback.
maybe they're just.
Oh, they did a new poster, not that one where she's just standing in front of a
wall. They redid it, and it looks so much better.
It actually looks like there's a ride, which is pretty cool. But we're all Country Bear. We're Tiana's is old school news now. It's basically been there 5 years, right? Like, we're done talking about Tiana. It's all about Country Bear now.
So before we even get into this one, can I briefly discuss Vacation Jamboree and how that changed my life?
Oh, sure. Because I'm more than willing to talk Vacation Jamboree because, of course, I recently experienced it too in Tokyo.
That's right. Yeah, it opened when you were there.
Yes, it opened 3 days before I got there.
Yes, that was. I don't want. I need that in the States. Like it's.
Well,
I like it, but
I love it. What's weird is the Japanese one has different songs, some different songs than the American version.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was researching it on the way to the airport. So
yeah,
I guess for those who don't know, I believe they used to do this up till the 70s, I think, or early 2000s at Disney World. But in the summer, they would do like a vacation jamboree version of, like a seasonal version of Country Bear Jamboree, and I think a Christmas
Vacation was there for Vacation. Ended up stuck at, was it Disneyland or
Disneyland.
Magic Kingdom?
Disneyland
forever.
So it would alter between Vacation and Christmas for the last couple of years. The original show, I don't know, somebody's going to call me on this one. I don't think it ever came back at Disneyland. We went to the last performance of Country Bear Jamboree at Disneyland before they closed it. Maybe
I don't think it ever came back.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, it was always Vacation Hoedown.
Yeah,
but I loved it.
It's great. It's great, and it's in Japanese, and it's still great.
Wait, it was in Japanese for you?
I mean, portions of it was, yeah. Was it
Oh,
in English for you?
I had to look back at my videos, but I think all of it was damn near in English for
some
me.
of it's in. Oh no, some of it's in Japanese. There are certain songs.
Which is the character with that's in love with the octopus, or the octopus is in
that
love?
one threw me for a loop because I was like, what?
That's great. I love that one. That was my favorite.
No, you're right, because Singing in the
octopus there,
Rain. Singing in the Rain was in Japanese, so you're right.
That was my good because you're making me feel crazy.
It's
and
been
then
a week,
also Victoria's like, well, I was in Tokyo a couple days by then, so I had just totally picked up on the language and it just
yeah, totally with my three phrases.
Yeah, yeah, we'll talk more about that. But no, I loved it. I love in their Vacation one the fact that Henry sort of strums along to Singing in the Rain and he goes ba 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 ba.
Yeah.
Like there's just these really adorable moments in that. And then Vacation, their VACITION song's much better, I think.
Oh, I loved it. I mean, the Elvis thing kind of threw me off for some reason, but then at that point, like, why wouldn't the Singing in the Rain thing throw me off? Because that's not a vacation either.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes a little more sense when you watch it in English and you're like, oh, I see where they're making these like summer showers and they're making these connections.
But I like the little outfits. I like the vibe. It was very cute. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I kind of wish the States would do it, but I know they're not going to. So.
No, not for a while because we got this new one.
Yeah.
And before we get into the actual show, so this is the poster. I love this poster. I love Sammy. He looks amazing. Let's move on to the queue, which I honestly, coming right from Tokyo's queue was like incredible. I mean, I was so thrilled with it. Teddy Barr's got her own ladder going up to a room, like all this cute stuff. And then they finally got cute here in the Magic Kingdom. So they have these new cases of artifacts, like this. They have one of these in Tokyo, this sort of like record made of wood, but this amazing old school microphone with Country Bear Jamboree logo on it, which is really, really cool.
Big Al's patch vest is my favorite.
Oh, we'll get into it. I got all of them here.
Oh, I've seen none of this actually.
There is this note about the notebook. There's a lyric notebook and then the set list development, and they put this on a Hungry Bear restaurant napkin, which is so cute.
Oh, that's
so cute. Yeah.
Which, by the way, their Hungry Bear restaurant in Tokyo.
Yeah, prime. I was too full at that point. I had been eating. I had, of course, went and seen my friend Tony, and ate his good pizza, and then. We had Blue Bayou, so I was like just kind of rolling around at that point. Love you, Tony Solaroni. There he is, my main man, Tony Solaroni, back there. Mwah. So anyway, we have the Hungry Bear, and then This is great because it worked with the show too. Here is one of Ernest's fiddles, which is burnt out.
I love that.
The
It's
amount
so
of detail they put into this, just wow.
They really
nice.
really did a lot, and it feels like it too. Here's another area where they have the old teddy bear, because now he's holding like a little Big Al plushie, which is really cute. The only thing I hate is that we'll talk about in a minute. They're not selling that Big Al plushie. Maybe they will at some point, but it's not here yet. But it clearly here's a washboard that has seen its last day, and a couple other things, which is just really, really cute. Grizzly Hall. I do love Grizzly Hall opens. Venue promises a wild and woolly time, which was on the sign for a long time. Wild and woolly. And then, yeah, Dave, you were talking about this spot in the queue.
Great.
So cute. Here's I think honestly the best gag in the whole room is that the guitar is a Les Paul.
Stop it.
It's
That's
so good.
Amazing.
Stop it.
It's so good that it's called a Les Paul. But yeah, you got all sorts of stuff here, like shakers,
Like
guitar,
all those patches, like if you zoom in,
Here, I
those
got
are
one
each
for you.
actual embroidered patches. Like
Mhm.
it's crazy how detailed it is. Yeah,
Well,
they're really good.
and
like
the
they
funny-
need to sell those. I
Yes.
would buy those.
Well, and of course it's Big Al's world tour jacket, but all of the patches are for like towns in the United States that are named after world locations. Like he went to Athens, Georgia, and London, Ohio,
And Rome,
like-
Tennessee.
Yeah,
That's
like, and
hilarious.
it's so funny.
And I love this one. It says 10th anniversary, no 11. There's another patch over it. Yeah.
Farewell
It's
tour.
charming.
Farewell tour, right?
Yeah. Charming.
It's amazing what
I
you
just,
can do when you let your Imagineers actually be creative.
yeah, I mean, I love the this of course from Vacation. You have the oh, I didn't know my cursor could show up here. Hello, cursor. We're learning things today. Vacation, Wendell has his little photography camera, and then there's some photos from the photography camera and the camera itself. I mean, you don't have to do
So
this.
good.
You don't have
Yeah.
to do this.
Yeah, they did it.
No,
Like,
it's
They
super
did
cute.
it. That of course comes to Barry Poppins, which connects to the show, which is really,
Oh
really cute.
yeah, because that's one of the songs, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
And then
doing
there's-
this blind, so I know nothing. To be honest.
Hey,
wanted to
I
get
love
the-
it. I love it. There's one of these has I think this is up on the wall, and then there's a drop down underneath where there's some magazines, which just sort of showcase them. I love
Hibernation.
Hibernation
magazine.
Country Bear Living.
In a way, it kind of gives me, and correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a while since I've seen it. It kind of gives me vibes from the movie, in a way.
I mean, they certainly are like as the movie fleshed out what the Country Bears were, and that they were a thing, right? They weren't just like one thing in a
Right.
building and some people came and saw them. Like they were a thing. In the same way, they do really treat the bears like they're the Grand Ole Opry, which I think is the right
Which
approach.
is exactly right.
Yeah, which
yeah.
yeah, I agree.
So I think
cute.
it works that way, and it's very, very cute. And the show, we're going to go ahead and play a little clip from the show here.
I'm
The
excited.
show is adorable. This, of course, is sort of the end song of the show.
Oh, wow.
All of the new costumes are so pretty. Everything. Now, I think it's called compliance. All the figures have compliance, which means that basically
right.
that started with The Wicked Witch of the West and Great Movie Ride, and that's that sort of fluidity. I'm hearing word that Ernest and his fiddling is giving them some trouble, which is not a surprise because that is a lot of movement in that figure.
Yes, I saw a clip like literally 30 minutes before we got on, and I was like, "Is it supposed to be doing that?"
Yeah, it kind of busted.
Yeah, but also there's also a clip circulating around of it smoking like it's on fire. Smoke is part of the gag.
Yeah,
like
that's
it's supposed to be like he's playing so
okay.
fast, and the smoke machine didn't turn off, and that cue didn't work. So there's nothing malfunctioning.
No.
there's nothing on
Okay,
fire.
it's
People,
supposed to
there's
be.
nothing on
Okay.
fire.
Got
No.
it. I didn't know.
That's the best gag in the whole show. Is
Yeah.
that he uses the fiddle, and no clicking in any of the eyes anymore. Everything sounds really nice.
That's great.
Yeah,
So is
the movements are really fast and sharp.
They're very fast and charming.
They're very much current generation figures. It was really
Okay, I
can
was
see
gonna
him
ask if they like had just
strumming.
refurbished the old ones or like if they
No,
just-
I mean, I think it's the same figures, but they've done a lot of work on them. So
Okay.
here's, I mean, just him playing is so much more smooth than it was before. So that gives you a little taste
That's good to
of our
know
bears.
because clicking drove me up a wall.
Oh, sure. We do have the set list. Let me bring that up real quick for myself. You guys can look at it too in the agenda. So the songs are as follows. There is a new Country Bear Musical Jamboree song, which is actually really good. It's very
Ooh.
hummable. And then what I think is well, we'll talk about what we think in a minute. There's Try Everything from Zootopia with Trixie and the triplets. Kiss the Girl is done by Romeo. Whole New World is sort of it's like mid funny, mid sincere with Wendell and Teddy Barra. I don't think you can take Wendell seriously ever. And then Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is played on the fiddle, as we were saying earlier, by Ernest from Mary Poppins.
Oh,
Then Fixer
the gag
Upper.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Fixer Upper from Frozen is done by Shaker. I swear on the Bible, I didn't know what that song was. I had to look it up. It sounded so different than I only know like 2 or 3 songs from Frozen. I've only seen it like twice.
Yeah, that one's kind of like no one really remembered it. It was like a gag song in a way, but
Yeah.
it's all right. That one's okay.
yeah, it's like
Big Al sings Remember Me, sort of.
Laughed out loud. I
Oh.
absolutely laughed out loud when he started singing that. That was
It's the perfect song.
it's the
for-
best. It's the best one in the show by
Yeah.
far.
okay.
In sort of the place of Davy Crockett, I think is You Got a Friend in Me with Sammy and Henry, which is cute and kind of expected,
cute.
as well as Bare Necessities. And then I think the shock of the entire show is you exit with Come Again, a new variation on the old Come Again song, which I'm thrilled by that they just kept it.
Do you have a clip
so-
of that?
I do not have audio for it.
Okay,
No.
I'll go. Well, it's on Spotify.
for the
which,
sake
by the way,
of-
you can hear everything on Spotify.
Yeah. You can go. Blog Mickey has a great video for it.
Okay.
What did you guys think of all these songs? So, Dave, your favorite was "Remember Me." I mean, it's. I don't know if I count it as a song as much as a gag. Like that's the point of it.
It's a gag and it's great. I mean, you know, that's the placement of the Big Al song in all of the shows is crucial, right? It's the end of the second act going into the third act. Basically, it has to be a big laugh, and his character is very particular, right?
Yes.
So I think it was the right show. I racked my brain going, what else would he sing from the Disney canon? But that is. Because it takes a song that actually made me cry in the movies. That's one of the most sincere songs. And even in Coco, it's played for laughs because he's sort of flamboyant. And at the end, it's played really heartbreakingly sincere. Right. So, but in Al's pause, it is just perfect. It was
and
like
he himself breaks down and is like, I can't go on. Like, it's too sad. Like,
it's so good.
It's very
so
well
good.
done. Yeah. Go ahead,
I thought all the songs were pretty great. I thought the only, not so much dud, but the one that doesn't sort of land for me is Fixer Upper, only because it's not as memorable a song from Frozen. But I know why they picked it story-wise. I get it. Sure. You know?
Yeah.
I thought the show was great. I really liked it a lot. It honors the original show. It updates it for a new audience. It checks all the boxes for why they made it. I think my only minor quibble, and I don't know if this is, I don't know if this is just me. I'll have to watch it again. I felt like the banter could have used some more gags and more quips. It's good, but I really wanted it to be a little bit more dad jokes and pun and bear puns. There's not as much of those. There's some.
Oh, sure. There's a couple that I've caught a second viewing where like they're playing the fiddle, like he's playing the fiddle and Buff and I can't remember who says it on the wall, but someone says he's burning right through our fiddle budget, and then Buff says, "I can't believe we even have a fiddle budget."
A fiddle budget, yeah,
which is really funny. Like
it's funny, yeah,
and it's sort of
joke.
off to the side. And I think there's some of those lines that are going to catch on. For me, I think all of this works pretty well except Try Anything. At best, you can say it's yeah. A couple reasons. Reason one, at best you can call it country pop, and I hate country pop. Like, I have no interest in it. I think there's a very, like, the way they sound is very specific. That's why I kind of waffle about the Beach Boys and Vacation too. It's a little.
Oh, that's like one of my favorite ones.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's bad.
I like the Beach Boys in that.
Again,
I mean,
character
in
because
a
it's
country
the triplets.
Right. Yeah.
If
But
in a
it's
country
actually-
show, the
it's
triplets
not.
are gonna be, Leanne Rhymes, basically, right? They're gonna do the
Right.
country pop stuff. They're
Right.
gonna be Taylor Swift, early Taylor Swift.
My problem with that is I think the triplets, who are maybe the most popular characters after Big Al, if they're pretty close, they actually end up just becoming background singers for Trixie. They don't do anything on their own.
That's valid. That's valid.
And I don't really. Trixie's fine, but like Trixie is always sort of played as a, like Shaker, like it's a side character gag. They kind of, I mean, honestly, you can't do what the gag has always been with Trixie, which is she's fat, which is the whole like literally in the original, like there's a fat joke they cut out of it. If you go to the Tokyo one, the Japanese one is very much like, she's like, I'm sad, so I'm going to eat. And then she's like, eating stuff behind the curtain. And you're like, no.
Oh, Lord.
Can't do that now. Can't do that now.
No. And so I get that. I just felt like, I don't know. I feel like you needed a song for the triplets. I love them playing in Vacation, at least I can't remember how it works in America. They do end up doing their own song, and then they end up playing background for Romeo, right? They're like the little crowd, and they're like, screaming, right? And it's cute. And I just felt like they're very underused for what this show is.
Well, what song would you recommend for them?
Oh, you put me on the spot. Now I feel like I gotta Google like all Disney songs.
What were the songs they did in Minnie's Fly Girls at California Adventure?
Oh, that was so long ago. I couldn't even tell you.
They weren't. Let's see. Come Fly With
I can
Me.
Google it.
Straighten Up and Fly Right.
But none of them were Disney
Let's Go
songs,
Fly
right?
a Kite would have been fun.
Yeah.
The three of them.
I'm
just trying to think of 3-part harmony stuff. That was my favorite, one of my favorite singing shows at any Disney park.
Mm-hmm.
It was so good, and it didn't last.
I missed it. Like literally, the first time I went, it had just gone.
So good.
So I never saw it.
So good.
I think there could have been. It's really hard to think of a 3-part harmony off my head. I'm kind of letting them figure out the 3-part harmony to whatever it would be.
Well, could it be a song that could be turned into a 3-part harmony? Technically,
yeah. I just don't know what. I mean,
like character-wise, like they're young girls.
Mm-hmm.
Their motivation in the past has either been like fans of Romeo, or they're getting ready to go to the beach.
They're
like
cute. They're little cuties.
So probably something from like
cuties.
the new films, like maybe Tangled or
something. I don't know. And again, I'm not saying take away from Trixie. I'm just saying it felt compact in that way. All the similar beats that we have in the other shows were basically the same. You take out one song, you put like the rhythm was pretty much there in the sense of who gets to sing what, except for the triplets, which I thought was strange because they're literally the center of the whole entire theater. Let's talk about meet and greet costumes real quick. We can look at these costumes here. They did not necessarily change the costumes, but they did give them new clothes to wear. So Big Al's got himself a sweet new sort of, it looks like the fabric from the new curtain kind of vibe. I think he looks really sweet. I think of all of them, Shaker's gotten the most sort of, he's gone full kind of saloon boy. Little gambler. He's looking so fancy. And then Wendell has got a little vest and a little hat. I said this on Twitter, and I do like that we've redone everything except this little freak. Like this is it's the worst. It's one of the worst looking costume characters. It doesn't look bad. It looks like Wendell, but it also just looks horrifying.
They used to have in the 70s. I remember they had a plush of him that had a plastic face,
Mm-hmm.
and it terrified me.
Yeah.
Like it was. We'd go into a. I remember going into a store and like pick out a stuffy. Stand away from that one.
I'm
like,
just
actually,
shocked.
no, not this one.
Yeah, I'm just shocked that they were like. So supposedly, Liver Lips is no longer Liver Lips. I'm saying not Romeo because they didn't want to make that full transformation, and so because of that, and I think the hair is a lot to deal with. He's not meet and greeting anymore. And
My understanding is that is the case.
yeah, and I get that, but I just look at this little freak and I'm like, we know how scared people are of this thing. Like, why are we doing this still? But you know, whatever, it's fine. Why not? You know,
Bring trauma back to the Disney parks. What are you talking about?
That's true. We need more trauma. More trauma in the Disney parks. Certainly couldn't be worse. Let's talk a little bit about merch though, because you kind of mentioned there that they used to have some figures. I saw some photos that Disney put out themselves that said like, look at all these people here for the opening, right? And everyone had like Tokyo or old school merch. They had one shirt.
Swing and a miss.
They
I can't
did that
fathom
with
it.
Jollywood. Like they only had a shirt.
Yeah, now this year, of course, they've kind of figured out Jollywood. They're going to have a lot more merch, and it looks pretty good. We might have to look at that sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it, man. Like, I would have
That's
bought a
one of their
hat.
most popular shows. You didn't think to make a
I
collection?
know.
Like,
You get a Big Owl
At least
hat,
plush.
you get a
Plush,
Big Owl
hat,
hat, and a plush.
A pin.
They're already being
let me just
made.
say, and I hate
Just
to keep going back to Tokyo, but they had like quite a bit of merch, and I didn't realize it for
I got a
specifically
great-
for
We will not-
Vacation Jamboree.
We will not talk about Did they have it when you were there? They were
They had
completely out.
they had a whole collection.
They were completely out when I was there. I was
They
like
had a weird
super
collection there during the fall, during their Halloween stuff there, where for some reason the sign at the entry to Frontierland that pointed you to the Country Bear thing, was a little bear cub like pointing,
bummed.
had a pumpkin on his head.
Yeah,
and
I
they
saw that.
sold that
Yeah,
as like a plush and a keychain. I have the keychain version.
yeah.
And it's this
Cute.
just little bear with a pumpkin on his head. And that's
Yeah.
it.
I just don't. I mean, just buy them from the Oriental Land Company. Like, you don't even have to do the work. Just buy them. They'll sell them to you.
I feel like, and I've kind of noticed this with a lot of things they've been doing lately. It's like they push the attraction, but the merch kind of comes. Minus Tiana's, the
Yeah.
merch kind of comes later.
Yeah,
Like,
I think if they don't
later
have
to
a
the
full,
point where, yeah, like I guess it's
yeah.
like a warehouse thing, or I don't know.
if they don't have a full store to fill with new merch for the attraction, it's not as pressing.
Right.
I kind of assumed that Big Al's little shop that they have out kind of next to it would have gotten something. But this goes all the way back to like Remy, like Ratatouille Adventure. Like it took them forever to get the majority of the merch.
Yeah,
available.
it really did. Like it was
So
kind of an embarrassing long time how long it took to get anywhere.
yeah, I do know that for the people who went for the different was it media days, they got a Country Bear Jamboree guitar pick.
I
That
did
said
see-
Country Bear Jamboree on it, and I'm like, sell this stuff. Why don't you sell this stuff? Like
Like that would be like
I'd
that
fill
alone.
this thing.
I feel like would be
Yeah.
like I don't know. Like at the very least have like a shirt and like 3 plushes at the very
Plush-
least.
plush always sell. Just
The
people
plush
like
always
bears.
sells.
I mean, it's not
It's
exactly.
guaranteed. It's
It's
guaranteed
not
money.
it's not rocket scientists to go. Would a bear in plush form sell? Like,
I have no idea what their merch strategies are, but it seems to me that that's the kind of stuff nowadays that they do for events to drive attendance during certain times of year.
Yeah.
Because remember, there was the Dark Ages in the sort of late 90s, early aughts, where like land and attraction specific merchandise went by the wayside and everything just said Disney parks on it. You guys don't remember this. but
gross.
There was
I
a lot of
remember.
stuff where it was not even specific to Walt Disney World and Disneyland.
yeah,
And it was just characters and you know, so they've been through this cycle of like people just want the characters or people don't want stuff specific to attractions, but what they realized is the people that come back a lot do. So rather than make it en masse for the plebes, they say let's wait until, you know, we'll do a Christmas ornament, or we'll do a Halloween time thing, or or a limited edition pin for pass holders only when their passes open back up at the end of summer. Like that's where stuff like this and this level of traction stuff ends up happening.
I think you're right. I mean,
merch.
I'm not surprised in the sense that if we look back, like behind me, you can see right behind my head, Kevin and Jody created a Big Al little tiki mug, and then they did 2 figures like a couple right before I left, and that's kind of been it. And there was a Christmas ornament at one point too of the building, but like all of that's pretty high end, especially the figures. And I think that they do sort of juggle, okay, what's the fan going to want? And then what's like, here, let me bring it like this though. Well, I think this season is over. There was a season where they were like Funko releases at Disney World was a thing. Like I remember when the Tiki Room had a Funko release and it was only going to be at Disneyland for a while and da 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 da. Like I'm kind of surprised there hasn't been a Henry and a Big Al. Like I'm. It seems we might have crested that Funko wave. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of assumed because we were changing the show, they would try to make it less like this is nostalgia play for high end material and more like, all right, here's the stuffy because you just came to a show and you saw a thing. So. And it's the difference between having a gift shop and not having a gift shop. That's always the case. All right, let's move on to Disneyland. Dave, we have a very small update on what's going on over there in the Union thing. And by the time you all watch this on Monday, it will probably already be figured out in the sense of if they're going to do it or not. But we'll let you know.
Yeah.
What's going on?
So the Disneyland cast members are voting on a strike authorization on July 20th, which is 2 days after we record this, so by the time it comes out, we'll know. Unions representing 14,000 cast members of Disneyland, Disney California Adventure, Downtown Disney, and the Disney hotels entered into negotiations with the company on April 24th, asking for what they say are fair wages, a fair attendance policy, seniority increases, and safe parks for cast members and guests. So they're saying that they've refused to cooperate, alleging that Disney is engaged in some unfair labor practices.
You don't
Big
say.
Shock there.
Yeah.
You don't say. Unlawful disciplinary action, intimidation tactics, surveillance of union members who wore union buttons while in the park. The bottom line is that they're basically saying back in their statements from the bargaining committee that they're trying to reach an agreement that provides cast members with wages they need to live in Southern California. I mean, this is the truth that they don't pay enough to live here. Mm-hmm. And, the cast members are basically saying they won't accept less because they know their value to Disney, right? The theme park's profits come from their hard work, frankly, and they are right in saying exactly that. People's, go to a lesser park, and I won't name names, to see that pan out. Anyway, it's this does not include the Actors Equity folks in the shows because that's a different union.
I think they already settled recently on something.
Yeah, they settled recently. This involves the bakery, confection, tobacco workers, and grain millers. Local 83, the Service Employees International Union, United Service Workers West, the Teamsters Local, United Food and Commercial Workers. So their contract expired June 16th and for Disneyland, and the contract for California Adventure Downtown Disney will expire on September 30th. So this is right in the middle of all of that.
I chuckled a second ago because you said tobacco, and I was like, you're right. They're part of that, but I was like, part of that. I don't think they sell that anymore or ever did. Not
anymore. There used to be a tobacco shop.
There used to be a
tobacco shop on Main Street.
Yep.
I guess they decided
they did the full thing. Yeah, there was an Indian and everything, so they did the full bad spot in Main Street.
Still there.
I remember buying candy cigarettes. I remember buying candy cigarettes at the candy shop in like the 70s as a kid. Mm-hmm. So, start them early, kids. Anyway.
Ooh, just that's that.
Anyway,
there
I
you go.
think
That's
this-
what needs to sponsor Country Bear. Is we got to get Lucky Strike sponsored by
Lucky Strikes.
Yeah. Just
It's got to be a bear pun, though.
just
gotta
Henry.
be like- I got to workshop it.
I gotta workshop it.
Yeah.
It's just Henry. You know, there's a
Lucky
just,
Paw.
Just they don't have to do anything. They just gotta
Just
put
put one in his hand, like
put it in his
like
hand.
Walt had. you know.
Yeah. You know.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is all a good thing in my personal opinion. I think
Sure.
it's about time Disney needs their feet held to the fire. I've had many friends who are cast members who live not even paycheck to paycheck, so it's
No, man,
it's not
time
a
to
good
strike.
thing.
Time to
I mean,
strike.
I think it's great. I know they did just have like a strike outside the, not outside of the entrance, but like where
Mhm.
the guests go to enter through security.
Right.
And I know they did that yesterday on the anniversary of Disneyland, which I thought was great. And I do have a
69th.
link to
Yeah, we
69th.
talked about that. Nice.
So I do have the link for that petition if anyone wants to sign it, by the way. But doing this is very strategic in my opinion, especially with like D23 coming up and SDCC coming up and the one anniversary. I think it was very strategically well done. And they deserve to get their bag.
Yeah, totally. I hope that I legitimately hope they don't come. Here's what always happens with these things. They come to some deal. The deal is no good. Really. It just kind of like helps those who are here. It doesn't count for those who show up later. It gets messy that way. And then whoever's left over in 10 years, they're screwed again. So for me, it's like, I'm ready, man. Let's just strike. And I don't know the logistics, and this is a union thing. I mean, even like writers guilds have separate East and West Coast, but I would die for Disneyland to be like, we're going on strike, and the entire West Coast, like all of Disney World's cast members and their unions are like, oh yeah, in solidarity, we're also out. Like, if you want to really crumble Disney fast,
Yeah.
that's how you do it. And I'm sure, you know, it's a strange, I think they had one in the 80s. When was the last American big strike for cast members? I mean, Paris has one like once a month, but you know,
Which good on them. If they know how to do something, and they know how to boycott and strike. So
yeah. Speaking of cigarettes, right? They're just sitting there.
actually, now that I think about it, last time I went, they were striking.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the parade. You know, we've talked about it before. The strike parade. It's the best part. You know, I shut it all down, man. Disney forgets, that, oh, Dave, I think you're muted. Let's see if he had something to say there.
There we go.
I think he was just
I just said shut it down. Shut it down.
He's in solidarity. I think that Disney needs a really swift kick in the ass reminder that the only profitable thing that they do is the theme parks. Like, hi.
Surely the cruises do well too. They're making like a bajillion boats.
Sure. Any themed thing seems to work out fairly well, but the parks are what keep the studio afloat. But until they get a Inside Out 2 that makes $1 billion, but you got to run the ringer for a while. They're about to, sorry, Dave, but they're about to drop a lot of money on a Tron 3 with Jared Leto. I don't know, man.
What does Jared Leto have on this company? My God.
Thank you.
I don't know.
He has got naked photos of somebody in that studio because here's the thing about Jared Leto. Like, I don't hate him with the fire of 1,000 suns that most people do, but I understand why they hate him with the fire of 1,000 suns.
Sure.
I don't have time for Jared Leto to like or hate him.
No.
I think he's mostly innocuous in the roles he's done, but
Right, I
like the
agree.
bigger picture of him as a person and a rock star, I guess, is kind of icky.
To say the
Regardless,
least, yeah. Mm-hmm.
to say the least, I get it. I get why. So every time he gets especially something like this that is fairly, it's bigger than Morbius, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's got something on somebody.
Academy Award
Having
winner.
said that, I will be
It'll last you a while if you're an Academy Award winner. Like
He's an
I'm still
Academy Award
confused
winner.
why they
Let's not
put him in
forget that.
Haunted Mansion, to be honest. Like, they could have honestly put anybody in that.
That could have been
role.
anybody
It could have been-
because it
Like,
was just his
why
voice.
him?
Yeah,
Lord knows. The Lord knows.
he's got some dirt.
Yeah.
He can spill some tea.
But anyway.
that's the.
I don't think the kids are coming out for Tron 3. Just sorry everybody, but what's going to pay for Jared Leto's check is going to be
when they
the theme
announce
parks.
who's doing the soundtrack, and if it's Daft Punk again or someone.
Oh,
similar.
if it's Daft Punk for sure. Probably
Oh,
going
if
to be
it's
like
Daft Punk,
Dead
yeah,
Mouse.
Who's they're
I
gonna
will
go.
be sad.
I mean, I'm going to hold my nose as I buy a ticket to see Jared Leto in that movie, but I will go see that movie.
And you're going to go
So-
with the surround, the 5.1 like super surround sound. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm probably gonna cosplay as Kevin Flynn. Are you kidding? I'll have the robe and I'll have my disc and I'll be
Yeah.
a complete nerd. But
As you
because
should.
no one else will do that for Tron, but I will.
You and Tron guy. Let's go to something else that's amazing. Truly deeply amazing. And that is the Universal Mega Movie Parade has debuted in Orlando. And what we got here is, let me just bring up for our people on the panel. I only have a couple of the different floats, but the best ones, including, of course, here we have Back to the Future.
I love the detail in this float.
Yeah.
Right off
It's
the
fun.
bat.
It's
Yeah.
fun.
The two sides of the float are a little different. They have the Lone Pine and is it Lone Pine Twin Pine?
Lone Pine.
Lone Pine, Twin Pine.
Yeah, they have those signs. There's little detail differances. I'm not sure about that, Doc Brown, but it's fine. It's on
The
on
wig is
float.
bad. Yeah.
It's pretty rough. We've had some good Doc Browns, but we also have, of course, all the DreamWorks, minions. They all have their own floats. I didn't care about those. Those are fine. Those are for the kids. These are for us, like Ghostbusters, which is
love.
I love that classic Ghostbusters are back in the park. That makes me happy.
yes, including some of the new Ghostbusters too. So they kind of did a mix, which I think is really smart. I did put this photo in because this is the best Egon Spangler I have ever seen in a theme park. Like, holy moly! Like
So
it's a
impressive.
really,
Great.
it's really good.
It's great.
It's really,
They
really
got the
good.
hair right.
They got the hair right. That's kind of like 80% of the game. You do have E.T. as well, which is great. The only ride of all of these that has a actual attraction in this theme park. Jurassic Park's in the other area. But yeah.
This one was a little weird to me. I like all the floats. They're really nice.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, flying over the house just seems like, I know they had to pick something to be a central point,
Yeah.
but for some reason to me, the house is just
Were you
odd.
hoping
Like,
hoping
it's-
for police with guns? Or walkie-talkies?
I don't know what I was hoping. I don't know. It's
Well, someone mentioned.
I wasn't part of that design, so it's fine.
I saw a
It's
few
fine.
people mention they kind of wish that they were like doing choreo on the bikes, and I'm like, I mean,
Oh, they're not doing anything.
like because
on
they're
it,
just kind of
doing-
like just sitting there. And I was like,
right, because they
I
don't
guess.
pedal when they're in the air. I don't think
and they're
so.
not allowed to. Apparently, they're not.
Oh,
supposed-
really?
They're not, yeah, the
Interesting.
pedals don't actually move,
Oh, interesting.
and they're not allowed to. I forget why, but yeah,
Mhm.
they're not allowed to pedal, so they're just kind of like free balling up there.
So, I mean, I'm going to go back to the first one here, but like, I think one of the reasons the house is used is because you need the driver up front. And that one's pretty obvious. This one's very good at keeping the driver kind of
Yeah.
unseen.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I see it, yeah.
But, this one works. And then
Yeah.
we'll get there's a Jurassic Park one. We'll get to that one. But this is for me is the piece of resistance of the entire parade, which is the Jaws segment. It's
That
really
segment-
So good.
yeah.
So good.
Like
These
the
guys-
interaction
Mayor
with the
and Brody.
mayor. I've seen clips of that. It was
Yeah.
so. It was so fucking funny. I've watched it a bajillion times because
Yeah.
that is what I miss. It's like just interactions like that in the parades and like just in theme parks in general. It's just so funny and
It's great.
authentic
Oh.
to the movie.
However.
yes.
Why does the shark not move?
Oh, okay.
The
We'll get.
dinosaur moves.
I don't.
The
You're
shark
right.
is static.
The jaw should move. That's a good point. I agree.
At
Doesn't it kind
least
of have
the
like a
mouth.
history per se with moving? That's not very good.
Well, that's true. I mean,
That's true.
This is
That
They're
might be-
historical.
they're being accurate to the movie, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
And the ride, to be completely honest.
And the ride, yeah, exactly. That's
This
what I
is
was getting
first.
at.
This is first edition, like
The flip side to that is that this is my favorite of the floats.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, the design is just gorgeous.
yeah,
It's
Quint
really good.
up here just looking at people.
Who is that dude, and how did they find him? Because he's
Like, how
amazing.
did he like spot on casting?
Yeah, they did a really good job with a lot of these guys.
I'll find him for 3, but I'll catch him and kill him for 10. For that you get the head, the tail, the whole damn thing.
All I want to do in life is be in a meeting, and I hate putting hands on chalkboard. But if I could just down, also people turn to me and I just go, "Y'all know me." That's like my favorite. Like, this is the best. Y'all know me. So good. God, I need to rewatch that movie.
Yeah, it's amazing. That whole
incredible.
segment is easily my favorite thing in the entire parade.
And then you got a wonderful Jurassic Park T-Rex puppet. This is really good too. I'm sad that there's no I guess there is a Chris Pratt ripoff character, but I needed a John Hammond. I needed something like that, I think, instead. Because I guess they have the ball. They also have the ball from Jurassic World, which I think is where the Chris Pratt character is. But you gotta give me a John Hammond walking around greeting people and saying hello. And but I love this. This is really cute. It's got the drool and all that. It's so good. What a parade. We keep saying it. Watch the fuck out, Disney, because this stuff.
No, honestly, because they didn't even they still have yet to fully bring Festival of Fantasy back. It's still in its COVID phase, and from what I'm told, they are gonna keep it like that unless they announce some new parade, which honestly they should, because Festival of Fantasy has been around for 10 years now.
Right.
Yeah.
Foolish. Yeah, but there's nothing. They're not in any trouble because they're working on things like a Moana ride. Victoria, we have an image of what looks to be a patent for a very specific type of ride. Everyone's like, it's a Moana ride, and honestly, can you say it's not for a Moana ride?
I mean, based on the photo, it's very clearly bitches get in, bitches. We're going Wayfindin. So
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. Look at the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
What else could it be?
But-
It
it could literally be nothing else. But
yeah.
so
Do you have any
I think
details
the
on this, Victoria? Is there any details?
I mean, the only thing I'm really seeing based on the description.
I'll give you a second, Dave. What thought did you have there?
No, I was just going to say that. I mean, the big thing about the patent is that it's an indexing boat vehicle, so it can turn 360 and look in different directions, which we know they do in Pirates Shanghai, right?
Yeah,
Pirates Shanghai is incredibly complex.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually 2 metal tracks. There's a guide track that you're inside of, like a sluice, but in the middle of that are 2 guide tracks that are linear magnetic motors, like a coaster launch.
Crazy.
And the 2 little bogies that attach to the boat can slip back and forth on that middle track, which causes it to rotate. So they get not only positioning control, but speed of that position. Mm-hmm. They get so it's what's driving it through the water. It's not water drawn. It's not a ride that's actually pushed through through
right
by the water, because they needed exact match to the projected media to make it work correctly and the squinching work. And then so the biggest issue is that the end of the ride is not a drop. It's like a hump that you get pulled over by it's basically like a coaster launch underwater. Really. Yeah. It's basically they tried to add a thrill to the end of that by pulling you over this hump, it's a fun finale.
You do it backwards, I believe, right? Because the ship is exploding.
Yeah,
do
it backwards, right? Yeah, and then in the next scene you turn forward. I think the big thing about this patent that's different is it's not as expensive and complex as the Shanghai system. It doesn't look
I mean,
it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
according
new
to
Disney
the
system, so it's going to be But the big thing is it will allow the boat to also be a flume and go down a drop because it's being pushed by water still. This is just a mechanism under the water that allows it to index to scenes.
Yeah.
What they're probably not going to have, though, is frame accuracy, which is what they had on Pirate Shanghai. So we may not get the sort of elaborate squinching gags and scale gags that they have in
Hey, if that means more animatronics, I'm game.
But yeah, I don't think they need it. I think what they probably discovered was, hey, what we did in Pirate Shanghai was overkill.
Yeah.
Can we do something similar and cheaper? And
Yeah.
so that's what this reads to me is like, this checks a lot of the same requirement boxes as Pirate Shanghai, but it can be done a lot easier.
Right. Victoria, any extra information there, or is that pretty much everything?
It seems like that's pretty much the gist of it. The only thing I'm really seeing is like what Dave's. It seems like a combination of what Dave mentioned, and then they're like the closest to the turning to describe how it'll turn is the way Cosmic Rewind turns. So it's a combination of a log flume, what Dave said, and like the turning of Cosmic Rewind.
Interesting.
And the only thing I'm really
It'll be fun.
seeing is like this was originally going to be where the Tropical America's land was going to be, but it seems like Tropical America is what replaced that. So now they're considering maybe Epcot. But that's
Epcot. Where would they put it in
Top-
Epcot? This isn't an Adventureland ride, if anything. But the problem is we already have a drop ride in Magic Kingdom.
well, we have to go beyond Big Thunder, so I'm guessing it's going there.
Why the hell would Beyond Frontierland be another fantasy land?
Well, why are they putting a villain's land back there? Fuck if I know.
I agree. I completely agree. Well, you can clue me in to go from Haunted Mansion to a villain's land, but not the other way around.
It's more of a studios thing to me, if I'm completely honest.
For sure. Well, what isn't? Hey, we don't know where to put this. Studios.
Studios.
That's what studios is for.
Well, Disney, this could go into the Disneyland Forward plans somehow.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, can I be honest? I kind of find a log flume. They're popular, but I find it's sort of like, okay, like, I don't know, like how many more?
Yeah, but if this has got that indexing thing, and
I'm sure it's gonna be cool.
It wouldn't be a log.
It's an
flume.
omnimover. It's an omnimover log flume,
Mhm.
basically. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think, and Pirate Shanghai fucks. That ride is.
So it's one of those I feel
that
like
ride is.
Yeah,
amazing.
It does feel like Shanghai feels like an impossible ride to fully understand until you're on it, opposed to just watching it because of the squinching. And
it
stuff.
is because it was hyped and hyped and hyped to me. I went opening year, but in the first couple months before I went, like all my industry friends were coming back and like raving, foaming at the mouth, raving, and I'm like, calm the fuck down.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to the park and rode it 8 times in a row.
Can I be honest?
By the way, that's a thing you
we
can
got
do.
there on a slow day.
I was like,
we got
how
there
does this
on a
work?
slow day, and there weren't a lot of lines. And that ride, I put that on my gravestone. Pirate Shanghai fucks.
I can't. That's not the title for this episode, but yeah, too long.
Come on,
can't make it happen.
I'm always trying to sneak something in that
I know.
will become the title.
I'm proud that we're all doing our best bit. I think it's going to be Victoria today. I think she's got the Wayfind. Get in, bitches. But
thank you. I didn't even try with that one, but okay.
I see. That's
get in, bitches. We're going wayfinding. That's a good one too.
Yeah, see,
that's a good one too.
Dave's too thirsty. I could tell. So. What are you gonna do? But anyway, that's sort of the news this week. We're a little, not super low, but we're a little low, which is good because we have a couple Beware Our Guests. All right, we got 2 Beware Our Guests. This first one is actually kind of I think we talked about this once, but we had no details beyond someone being insane. And I find these details really crazy. So Dave, can you give us an update on the shirtless men swinging stanchions around at Epcot?
So, oh god, this one's weird.
It's weird.
It's so weird.
It's a weird one. So, a man named Raymond Wong, who was on an ECV scooter, charged at a cast member.
Was very drunk, apparently, or on something.
He was had signs of impairment of alcohol and or drugs. Big shock. It was he was with a group of 8 people, and they were trying to get into Space 220. And evidently the host told them something they didn't want to hear. And the host went to get a manager. Somebody in the group put a cell phone in her face and started to film her. And she felt uncomfortable and moved the phone away from her face. And the guy in the ECV, who's the big guy, Raymond Wong, charged at her like a football player and hit her with his hand. She fell back on the ground and radioed for help. She's scared she's going to get attacked again. The coworker came over to help. They hit him in the cheek and hit him in the face.
Was that Raymond, or was that his son who hit him? I can't remember.
It said Raymond as well.
All right, because his son
and then Raymond's
doesn't fall very far from the tree.
Yeah.
No, 24 jumped in and punched the manager, and then both Raymond and Ryu took off their shirts like this is going to be a rumble.
Even if I was rumbling, I wouldn't take off my shirt.
That's where I got confused. I'm like, what was the purpose of taking the shirts off? That's where you lost me.
Yeah.
Not that any of this should happen anyway. But I'm like,
and then Raymond grabbed a stanchion pole from a queue and pulled it out of the ground, out of one of its little sockets, and swung it around so nobody could come near him.
I mean, that'll do it.
Look, what I can tell you about the situation is that these guys are from Lake Wales, Florida. Now, I worked very near Lake Wales. I worked very near Lake Wales. I worked the university I was at had a Lake Wales address at the time. I mean, it still does, but it was on the highway, and there is nothing out there. There are reasons I don't live in Florida. That's just one of them. Is that place had nothing around it, and Lake Wales is. Let
me guess. There's a pool hall.
Oh, I'm sure,
and maybe some bars.
Lake Wales is this old citrus town. It has nothing in it. It's got some bars, and it's not like a terribly bad looking town, but it is. You can't get more central Florida than Lake Wales. Like, it is in the middle of nowhere. These guys are country boys in that sense.
I mean, that explains the shirt thing, and that if that's the case, then,
I guess. Now, you kind of get this. This is why I think it's important that we celebrate diversity on the show. These are not two sad white Floridian boys from the middle of the country. These are they look Samoan or Hispanic, right? Like I'm just making a point here that you can be dumb and stupid,
you can be whoever you want to be.
You can be cornpone as hell and not be white. If that's what you want to be, God bless you. That's something you can achieve.
This is booze. This is over drinking at Epcot. This is why they should be scanning your ID and tracking how many cocktails you've had. Mm-hmm. It's not hard to do.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, I had that conversation when I brought my boyfriend last. He was like, I can have a tequila at 11 a.m. I'm like, I wouldn't advise it, but sure, go off, son.
Yeah,
sure you can.
In the Florida heat.
Sure,
go
but
nuts.
that's an issue because literally the following hour, we saw a drunk girl in an ECV at noon.
Yeah. Do you know why people rent ECVs? Some of them, it's because they're drunk off their ass.
Oh, let me be clear. That wasn't her ECV.
Yeah,
I don't know whose ECV that was. It wasn't hers.
We got ourselves a stolen ECV. This is, man, talk about a real Beauty and the Beast situation. Tale as old as time. Like, we have had this conversation about Epcot
many times.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, these boys went to the pokey.
I don't know.
My big thing about people getting drunk at Epcot. Look, I've been tipsy in the parks. We all have. We've all been there.
Yeah.
That ain't cheap.
At all.
Like, who decides to go to binge drink or are they pre-gaming at the hotel on cheap ass beer?
Look, I've brought wine and beer. I don't know if I've ever brought liquor, but I have brought wine and beer a couple times into the park in a coffee thermos that I'm drinking. Like, and nobody.
I've done that once by accident. I'm not even gonna hold you. They never check it.
No,
that's the thing.
No.
They
You
never
go through
check
a scanner,
the
and they don't care. Like, honestly,
No, they're not paid enough to care.
No, And honestly, it's really just to have a nice little drink in the middle of the day. And we were doing that in like November, when you could drink a little bit and not feel terrible. But the idea of being there, there was just this thing I saw on that kind of went viral on TikTok and Twitter about this lady who bought these fake ice pack flasks. And she's like, oh, look at this. I filled it full of liquor. And then she like took her kid to Disneyland, and like her and her man are like glug, 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 glugging in their drinks and like moving around the stroller. And everyone's like, can't just enjoy the like, what are you doing? Like, why do you, and I
Like,
get
why?
I totally understand. Like, I would bring enough in to have one drink, because guess what? When you're an AP, you're like, I'm not paying $9 for a Blue Moon. Like, it's not happening. But that kind of, I don't know. It's messy. It's messy as hell. And it's, I'm not going to talk about this anymore because we've talked about it all the time, but that fine line between, Walt said carnivals and amusement parks were trashy because of this kind of shit. And now Disney kind of lets it happen.
Look, I'm not gonna let Walt dictate anything. The amount of cigarettes that man smoked into our early grade, I need him to be serious.
But
I know y'all love him. I know he's your white savior, but
no. I would agree though.
I just question anybody's drinking habits that wants to get drunk on $20 cocktails. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And then it's watered down. Let's be real.
It's bad.
Right. They're not even strong.
They're not even strong.
Yeah. I would recommend, there's a great, How to Drink on YouTube. Really incredible.
I love him.
Love him.
Oh yeah.
I love
very
him.
good YouTube channel.
And
I love him.
He does video. He's done a couple at Epcot. He just did one about
at
drinks.
Disney. Yeah.
And
Oh, did he? I missed that one.
And he's very much, he's very much like, all of these are bad. Except for the tequila.
He's really,
and he's
great on like the history of cocktails, and I have such an internet crush on him. He's so great, and so affable and funny. I love that channel.
Yeah, it's great. It's an easy watch.
How to Drink? Come on our show. We love you.
I have to cast that after this. I'm like 2 episodes behind apparently.
Yeah, get on it.
Let's do a booze episode.
Let's do it.
Why
I
not?
don't drink
We
like
can
that,
do
but
it.
Let's do it.
We can do it. That sounds good. Let's talk about someone else being naughty in the parks. Dave.
Yeah, this one.
Who we got? Who is being naughty? Who did naughty things? That sounds sexy. It's not sexy. Who did naughty things in the park?
Whoopi Goldberg, ladies and gentlemen.
Whoopee.
What are you doing? We just talked about this. A couple months back, I think. We had a story about this where people were spreading ashes in Rise of the Resistance. Don't spread ashes. Don't spread people's ashes. That's a federal offense.
Is it?
Plus, it is.
But people do it in the
federal
ocean.
Offense.
That's international waters.
Well, no, it's like technically that's not legal either, but they look the other way because they don't care.
It's in the ocean. Yeah.
It doesn't matter, but like spilling ashes on any public or private property, like if you did it in your backyard and you put it in your garden to have your husband make your roses grow, good for you. No one's gonna
next to your dog
like twice.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously this makes sense because it's
there's letter of the law and figurative part of the law, and there's a lot of places where this is they don't care and they'll look the other way. Disneyland is not one of those.
No.
So do not bring your ashes.
No.
I wouldn't recommend it.
And so in 2010, and the thing is, Whoopi doesn't hide her love of Disney. She goes to the parks. She's been a Disney voice many times. Like,
she loves primarily for ABC. Like that's
what
she's
a Disney legend, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, she is. I think
after the death of her mother, Emma Harris, she took her mother's ashes to Disneyland to scatter her remains in one of her favorite locations. It's a Small World.
It's a small world.
After doing this, she realized she had probably gone a little too far. And she told cast members what she had done because she realized that spreading human remains in a water ride could cause a safety hazard. Oh, yes.
Thank you, Whoopi. You know what? Can I caveat just a teensy? If you want to bring like a thimble's worth of ash and you just want to, like I'm not, but like, are you gonna ruin it? Like, probably not. But if you like dump, no.
But
no.
It's small?
It happens at least monthly. They call it Code Grandma. when it happens on the radio.
I'm confused because Haunted Mansion, I know it happens often.
Totally.
I get that.
All the
It's
time.
a small.
It's a choice.
Because it's the waters of the world, and it's the song, and it was her mom's favorite. Maybe, who knows?
Okay.
Like, don't do this, people. No. And Nathan said, bring a thimble, whatever. There's ways you can do it discreetly, just not in a ride.
Yeah.
Like I used to say years ago. I used to tell Jason. Years ago. Find a creative place. What we determined was this is gross, but work with me here.
Okay.
He's gonna bake me into a loaf of bread.
Okay, I'm listening.
And then take that bread to the park and feed it to the ducks.
That's nice. I like that.
I will be pooped out into Disneyland in an ecologically friendly way.
Yeah. That's nice. I can get behind it.
I'm processing this.
So you just want to be like double ovened. Like not just one oven.
Yeah.
But yeah. Let's also put you on the broiler, and we'll have Paul Hollywood. We'll have Paul Hollywood look at.
I get the impulse of why people want to do. I get the impulse of why people want to do this, but you have to take into account the amount of people that are in that park every day.
Just do it in like just take a thimble and put it in Rivers of America. Like it doesn't have to be your whole.
Like why are you dumping the whole thing in there?
Just put a pinky in. It's fine.
Like a pinky full, yeah, literally. Like just have like a little Coke vial and just drop that in there.
I mean, if we're going to be completely
honest,
I said the remains aren't going to stay
I wouldn't want to
there.
snort that by mistake. But, like a little tiny... Put it in... Like, empty out a sunscreen bottle and just...
this is why we need to bring film cameras back, because a film canister is just the right size for this kind of thing.
Actually, the easier way to do it, have a bottle of water that you're sipping on all day, dump it into the water, dump the water out into the bushes. Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't want the rest of my water. I'm throwing my thing out.
Yeah. Just put some in the water. Just do not.
I love how we're telling people how to commit felonies.
Just
right?
do not.
I'm just like I'm not participating in that.
Look. This is all purely hypothetical. Do not do this.
Hypothetical.
Do not do this.
Do not do this.
No,
do not.
But if you had to pick a place in Disney, where would it be? Where would it be, y'all? Where you
like thinking? Hypothetically,
a thimble's worth. I'm saying, and none of this. Bake me into bread bullshit. I'm talking like ash. Like we got a little dust and we got to put it somewhere. Where's this dust going?
Where's Rivers of America? Done and done.
Crazy enough, and I know it's going to sound cliche as hell. It's going to be Haunted Mansion, but it's going to be in the graveyard.
Okay.
Specifically, Disneyland's Haunted Mansion.
Okay.
Out front,
because it has
the pet. The pet graveyard or inside the ride? Okay,
no, the pet graveyard. Specifically that because Disneyland's one has the Baltimore connection, and obviously I'm from Baltimore, so it makes more sense for me.
I just need someone to stuff my ashes into one of the firework tubes. that way I just...
Up in the sky.
Pow!
I love it.
Pow!
I love it.
Right out there.
I love it. Yeah,
some imagination, huh? You like Phantasmic? So do I. Boom! There I am.
Jesus.
Probably that's what I would say. I don't know. You know what?
Which fireworks one? Like which fireworks show?
I don't know. I haven't really thought that hard about it. I kind of want to be put in Tokyo. I hate
then
to
you
be
have to like fly it.
I don't
there
have
and,
to.
That's risky.
I don't have to.
Right. No.
This
I mean, at that point, it's out of his hands.
It's out of my hands. It is my hand at that point. So, and maybe a little bit of an ear. Who knows?
Gross.
Yeah, it's gross. You know what though? Journey to the Center of the Earth. I don't like that ride that much, but that queue you could throw some ash in there.
No one would know.
Yeah,
no one would know.
No one would know.
Not a soul would know.
No one would know.
It's very short. I didn't expect it to be short.
It's a very short ride. We'll
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically. No, I want my entire can to be put next to Tony. That's what I really want. My main man, Tony. Tony Solaroni. I want to make a pizza with Tony. All right. We're going to move on. And we are going to go to a big old section of the mailbag.
You know it's nice when the postman has a letter in a sack for you.
All right, we have 3 pieces of mail. It's been a little while, and that kind of backed them up, but we're just going to go through them real quick. and we'll answer your mailbag question. So Michael writes in and says, now that permits are done, to start planning to plan for future lands in both Disneyland Forward and Behind the Green Door. Behind Big Thunder in Magic Kingdom. That is a reference for some very specific people, and if you know it.
That is a reference to a 70s
pornography. Yeah, that's a pornography reference. That's what the show is for. They don't say it in Country Bears anymore, so we get to say it. This is a high class. We got high class stuff on this show. I'm
gonna look that up.
Well, just put the private tab on first.
Careful.
So
Careful.
behind
Put the private tab.
Anyway,
it's a video. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's
Never
pornography.
Mind.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you meant like an image.
No,
okay.
it's
an actual
film.
movie.
It's a film. It's back when porn was fun and cool, and you could go to a cinema. You know, that it wasn't like a Fred Willard, Paul Rubens cinema. It was like a normal cinema, like an art cinema, and it was like, we're gonna watch some Parisians like rail each other, but like. And we're gonna be on coke, but the 70s, man.
My virgin ears.
70s were a wild time.
Porn was just a thing. That was something that and the soundtrack. You know what's weird? I've been listening to a lot of soundtracks recently on YouTube, and I came across a guy with a lot of soundtracks from Asia because I'm working on an episode of Japanese films, and he had a ton of Japanese 70s pornography soundtracks, and they rip, man. They bop. You're like, okay.
Oh, like the music.
Yeah.
Not like the actual movie.
Just the soundtrack.
Just the music.
And you're like,
oh, that I want to hear.
Pretty good.
Okay.
It's kind of funky.
All right.
I don't know what to say about any of this.
Konnichiwa. All right. So, anyway, there is a question in here somewhere. We've lost track. All right. So he's asking about Disneyland Forward. Now that permits are done for Disneyland Forward and the Behind Big Thunder Mountain thing. But no specifics so far beyond Pandora at Disneyland something. Do you think Disney will actually create something new, or will it just be more ports of lands that already exist, which means more Arendelle, which seems to be going in every park worldwide?
I think
would say
in the plans, I think they say in the plan specifically, they're going to take specifically the Frozen ride from Fantasy Springs and put it there. I think that's specifically in like a maybe thing for the plans.
For Disneyland?
For Disneyland Forward, yes.
I would assume Disneyland because, Epcot's already sort of doing its thing.
Yeah.
Which that would make sense to put there.
Mm-hmm.
I would say both are true. I think they definitely want to reuse designs, and that's not a bad thing. Everybody who poo-poos that, not everybody gets to Japan. I think it's good that they recycle the good stuff. That's a good idea. Mm-hmm. But I think it'll also be a mix of some stuff we haven't seen, like the Moana boat ride and things. Mm-hmm. There's still stuff in the hopper that we haven't seen yet that is other IP, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
It's always
I'm sure we'll
be
see it for D23, possibly.
Yeah.
I won't believe it until groundbreaking of any of this stuff.
I won't believe it until I'm in line for it, quite frankly.
Dave, I'm going to have to, because we know how long it takes them to do construction, I will have to take your ashes, I think, to the park for this opening.
Here you go, Dave.
Enjoy.
Here's the Pandora,
Thanks?
Dave.
Question mark?
Here's Pandora.
Here it is.
Disneyland. Here it is.
But see, they've wisened up at this point. They have they're like, all right, when you're done with the ashes, you can, here is the official ash dumpster for, here you go.
Again, this is one of those, and look, Michael, no disrespect to your question. I think it's great. But one of the things to remember is this 20, 30 years ago, before we knew what they were putting into other parks and overseas, we would have been glad to have them here.
Yeah.
Get off my lawn. Like this is an internet problem, not an actual audience problem.
Yeah.
The general audience who goes to this parks doesn't give a fuck that it's a repeat from Japan.
They wouldn't know.
At all.
They wouldn't know.
They wouldn't
They're
know.
not even going to call it by the right name.
And so,
quite frankly, everybody wants Frozen. Like, that's just the
and right.
And guess what? It's the best versions in Fantasy Springs, and they would be totally stupid not to bring it over here.
That ride fucking eats. I ain't even going to hold you.
It does.
Yeah.
But I think that I think there's something to that Moana patent.
Yep.
I think that if Pandora comes to Disneyland, it's not going to be exactly like Florida because there is overlap between the two coasts. It'll probably be the Metakina water people.
It will be.
You know.
You know what? I don't know how they would do it, but I think Disneyland should take some of that land for a water park and make it Avatar. I honestly think they just need a water park. But
I've seen a lot of people say they want a water park specifically, which I would agree they need a water park.
Yeah, it's a semi gate that they can kind of add on to things if they want to. But anyway,
Me personally,
we'll see. We'll see what
bring
happens.
Westcott. You can easily bring Westcott back. And I'll be fine.
You know, the things we want, we'll never get. I'm never going to get Western River Expedition. I'm never going to get, so, it's going to be IP, whatever it is. And that's fine. That's just the nature of the beast. And Walt would have done it if he had more IP. All right. Andrew says, just wanted to, thank you, Michael, I should say. I hate to. Thank you. Thank you for the question.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
I've been on podcasts, or I've had my letters read on podcasts, and I'm like, do they like what it was? And no, thank you so much.
We love you, Michael.
We love it. Andrew, just wanted to send in a congratulations and thank you to Nathan for launching the Theme Park Audio Archive on YouTube. Been listening to theme park music all my life, mostly on YouTube, and thought Nathan's previous collection couldn't get any better. But with it all being on YouTube and hopefully available for everyone forever, is truly one of the most generous, and amazing things for the community. Thank you, because it was a ton of work. And many, many times in the middle of it, I was like, why am I doing this? It's all online. But I knew it wasn't in
It shows,
one place. Yeah.
It shows, and it's great.
I'm really glad. It's something I'm very happy about. We're going to talk a little more about that in a minute. But as for my question, Andrew says, yes, Nathan, I could have taken that whole compliment out and just gotten to the question. But no, I wanted to toot my own little horn here and show off my thing. As for my question, and to veer into somewhat a different direction, with Universal launching their new nighttime show, Sensational, this past weekend, what would you like to see for a similar show for Hollywood Horror Nights? Something they did in previous years, and possibly a show for the holiday season. Anyway, love the podcast, and I'm excited for the big Tokyo episode later on this year. What do we
Thanks, Andrew. That was very kind.
What are we
Thank you,
thinking?
Andrew.
I mean, they would be silly not to use what they are. They have all these fountains and projectors set up. There's no reason not to use them.
Yeah. That's infrastructure, right? That this show was a capital expenditure to put an infrastructure that they can change. They've done this before. They had when I worked at Thinkwell, they did a show called Universal 360, which were these big 360 globe screens, and that show lasted a while, and I think had a couple of minor refreshes. And then there was another show that had falling water screens. They had like frames back in like 2013 or 14, I think. So they've experimented with that lagoon over the years, but this is a major capital investment.
Yeah.
And they redid the viewing area. Like there's a lot that's gone into this show. So yeah, I have a feeling they will do seasonal shows.
Yeah.
I loved the Halloween show. I saw the one they did. It was a lot of fun. I don't think it moved the needle with fans.
I don't think so either. I don't think they'll do one for Halloween. People are like,
I think the problem is
into houses. That's the thing that people are doing, and I think it's hard to. Yeah.
It is. It's hard to do.
I think it would be just
I think
too
they
much.
might. Or they'll use the infrastructure not as a sit down and watch show.
Sure.
It will be
just a vibe.
Activations of just stuff that happens that you can see 360 around the lagoon.
Sure.
Right. That would be a better application during Halloween. I don't think people want to sit and watch a 17-minute show when there's so many houses to do. I just don't.
It's a different vibe than, say, like, Disney, which that's the whole bit.
Holiday show makes sense.
Yeah.
For sure. They've got enough holiday movies to
yeah. Wonder, you know what? I'm going to let's see if the power of the internet can tell me what movies Universal owns.
Grinch?
Well, that's, of course, they've done
Grinch is the big one.
Would Elf be one?
Elf is not them, but it's Warner Brothers and New Line, so they could license it. Anything, they've got relationships with Sony because of Ghostbusters, so they
Minions.
could look into Sony. Right, and
Minions
there
had to be some
Christmas
kids.
for sure.
Technically, they owned Violent Night, so they could. I think. Is that? Hold on a second. I don't think Holiday Inn is a Universal movie.
I think
it is not.
No.
The other one is, I think, White Christmas.
I'm guessing that I'm getting wrong information here. Well, Trolls had a holiday special too. Like they've all had holiday specials, so they can kind of mix those together if they wanted to.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
they can
for
do
sure.
anything with the drones, to be honest.
Yeah. This just seems to be a mix of things. I'm not sure that Violent Night was a Universal picture. Here we go.
It could have been a
Christmas
collab.
films. How to Train Your Dragon has had one. Madagascar has had one. Kung Fu Panda had one.
Yeah.
Trolls had one. Tons of, and of course Grinch is the big one. I mean, it depends on how they want to do it, because for the holiday, my favorite Universal experience ever was seeing Mannheim Steamroller at Universal. So we did the Grinch musical during the day. We did all stuff during the day, and then at night they had the show, which was.
Oh, they could easily combine that with the show.
I would not be shocked if they use things. They work with
Yeah.
Mannheim Steamroller and the
Like make it a
gentleman.
live kind of thing.
That would be cool, or you could just call it a Mannheim Steamroller Universal. I mean, the music in the Grinch musical is written by the guy from Mannheim Steamroller.
I mean, it would split the crowds too, because I think Mannheim is in one area, like towards the front, and then the lagoons
they're
are
by
there. So
they're
it
at
would-
the stage by Jimmy Fallon. Who runs Chip Davis? That's his name.
yes.
No offense, Chip. When we saw him, we loved the music, but he would just be like, "Can I have a story to tell?" And I'm like, "Holiday tune, no more talking, Chip. Let's move.
Like wrap it up, Chip.
Come on, Chip. You make way too much money this season for me to listen to you do this."
Have you seen the Christmas shows they do at Universal Japan?
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
I have. They're really neat.
bananas.
Yeah.
They're bananas. They're like Santa and angels and New York Christmas and snow, and
Yeah.
it's
Well, and they have in the
They're
past
bonkers.
had a relationship with Macy's, so there's a good chance that they would expand that with the show.
Oh, they
in
still
some way.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whether that's who knows. I like that idea. All right, let's go to the last in the mailbag here. John says, "Hi, Rats. When you're showing a theme park that you know very well to someone in your party who's on their first visit, how do you choose what experiences to do? Is it better to follow their lead of the new guest or guide them towards what you think they like? I was just on a Disneyland trip with a first timer, and while I wanted to let them organically discover the parks, I felt it impossible not to basically force their hand because I was in charge of Lightning Lane bookings for the group. I'd present them with a few different options at the time, choosing next what worked around our day, but was then too controlling. But was that too controlling of me? Should I have let them stumble onto whatever looked fun around them instead?"
I mean,
there's only one correct answer. There's only one correct answer.
Dave,
Oh,
please.
okay.
Absolutely control everything.
Everything. That's my.
I was gonna say. I mean, the best way I can describe
Because-
it is, look at me. I'm the captain. Like that's.
Thank you,
100%.
John. Grow some balls. So
Lovingly do it, John.
lovingly, I love you. Next time, grow some balls. So, no, the reason being is if you're Disney's a cultural juggernaut. If people have never been to the parks and it's their first time and they are an adult, they're going to have a preconceived notion of what they think it
Yes,
is.
and they are
Right.
fucked.
They're not going to know what they want.
Yes,
At all.
and they're
At all.
fucked because if you let them not plan, like there's no way this is going to work.
They're fucked.
They're fucked.
There's no way to see it without having been there a million
I've
times.
had-
So what
yeah,
I always
go
tell
ahead.
people, I get people saying, I haven't been to Disneyland since the 80s and the 90s, and I'm like, you are
Oh,
not
baby.
going
You're
without
not
me.
prepared.
Absolutely not.
You are not going without
No.
me. Like, you have to take me. And if people are first timers, I'm like, you need to trust me, and you need to just not worry about what
I
you're going to
do
see.
this in
And
January. Like I had to take someone
Yeah.
for their first time, and it was stressful for me, but they
interesting.
had a good time.
No one ever that I have offered my services to has turned me down. We have a friend who would call
No.
in February, and
No.
Megan, I love
No.
Megan, and she was the first to say, "This is insane. I don't know how all this works. You guys know every little minor detail about how to make this day the
Yep.
best. Why would I?" She's like,
Yep.
"I should pay you." She's like,
Yep.
I think she said at one point, if you didn't have an AP, I would just buy you a ticket because you are cheaper than a plaid, and you know every bit
Yep.
that a plaid would
I
know.
mean,
Yeah.
in a way, that kind of
And-
speaks against Disney too, and how
100%.
convoluted their
100%.
systems have become. Like the average park, like they have changed their Genie Plus system, I think 3 times now at this Well,
Yeah.
it'll be
Yeah.
3 later this month, but I'm like,
And
it
to be
should not
clear,
be this difficult.
No, and to be clear, I would be terrified if someone asked me to do it right now because everything is so different than
Yeah.
it's been in. Like it's even
I
worse.
did it recently. I did it about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, and and this is a friend who had never been and did not know what to expect, and we saw everything that needed to be seen. Right, there was some low hanging fruit stuff that we left off. There's some, we're not going to see everything in both parks at the Disneyland Resort in one day.
No way.
But if you show up an hour before opening and you stay till absolute closing, you can do. If you do it correctly, you can do it. You can do almost everything.
And you probably don't.
And so we
you
did.
probably don't
And he-
even need Lightning Lane or whatever it is for most of it if you know what
No,
you're
we
doing.
And
did.
that's the thing.
We absolutely needed it.
Maybe.
You needed
We
it?
absolutely needed it.
Oh.
Yeah, we did. We used it. But at the end of the day, that person was like, I wouldn't have seen half of this on my own. I want to come back on my own and explore now. I never would have done that before. I would have had a terrible visit.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth of Disney right now. I couldn't in good conscience send a first timer on that.
Yeah.
It would be terrible.
But even at
It also speaks
Universal,
to
people
this-
just like to be toured around. Like just like the idea that you know where
Yeah.
you're going. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that's perfectly. It makes me feel like wanted, I guess, in some way.
Now-
but here's
To John's
Oh,
question,
yes.
there is a shading there. Like I've had friends go and they're like, I don't like dropping.
sure.
Okay, no guardians.
Well,
That
then
would
you're
be
not
the
going to
point.
see everything.
Yeah.
Or I don't like coasters. Okay, and
Okay.
that's a tricky one. Like, what was the last coaster you went on? And they're like, it was some insane Six Flags one. I'm like, go on Big Thunder with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be fair,
And they do Big Thunder, and they go, oh, that was fun. That wasn't so bad. I'm like, you can do the coasters here.
to be
Like,
fair, I feel
you
like
know.
Disney doesn't really have coasters. I
no,
feel like they have
no.
family
But that's the
friendly.
thing. That's why asking people what they want to see in the park, they don't know.
Yeah, they don't.
I will
Right.
ask, who's your favorite character?
Mm-hmm.
You know, are there movies that you like the most? Is there a character you want to meet?
Yeah.
And maybe that'll guide us a little
Yeah.
bit. But beyond that, like, you're the expert. Take control.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
one. There's two things to finish this question off that I think is interesting. One is I do have a setting, which is I'll tell people, look, do you want commentary on or off? Because I get it. You know, there's
Yes!
there is a difference between I will walk you around, I will show you, I will get you on what you want to get on. We'll do it in the best way possible. I can do that. Happy to.
Yeah.
You turn on my commentary, I'm going to point to every little thing that I know, and I'm going to let you know every little bit about everything. And if
Yeah.
you want that,
Yeah.
it's here for you. And they would say, they would go to something like, this is cool. And then they would just look at me and go, tell me something about it. Like, and that was the best kind of thing
Yeah.
because I could do that
Right.
for them.
My default is commentary off
Absolutely.
because I want them to experience it like a kid and just
Right.
with.
That's my deal.
I don't want to give them the inside story,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. And also no
What ends up
spoilers. Like I don't tell them what the ride's about. I would
Nope.
never tell them
Nope.
anything like that.
But invariably, what ends up happening is we get off of something that blows their mind. They're like, how did they do such and such? And I'm like, this is a floodgate you're opening.
Yes. Yep.
You're turning on the comments. You're turning on the commentary
Yeah.
track. Do you want it just for this one?
Yeah.
Or, well, okay, tell me one. And I tell them something crazy and amazing. They're like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the day, it's
Pretty
like,
much.
they turn that commentary track on and off.
Yeah. Sometimes I even ask, like, do you really want to know how they do it? And then they get that moment where they go, no. Like,
No.
not in that way of
Right.
like,
yeah,
I don't care.
get that,
in
so much.
in that way of like, Katie did that. We were, when we got off of Beauty and the Beast, I was like, you want to know how he transforms, right? Like, I have a video. Like, I know, I can, and she's like, I don't care. Don't tell me. I don't care. Like, nope.
It's
I don't
magic.
want to know. I don't know. And it like
Yeah,
I totally
yeah.
understand that. I totally understand that too. The other thing that I think is
Totally.
there's always this kind of I'll take you to the parks and think, oh, you're a nerd, like you're nerdy, you know this stuff, cool. And then we'll get there for like Magic Kingdom is the one, and I would go, all right, we're gonna get in the back of the monorail. And they'd be like, well, why get in the back of the monorail? That doesn't make any sense. Shouldn't we be in the front if we want to get out? And I'll be like, we're getting in the back. I won't tell them. I'll say, we're getting in the back of the monorail. And of course, what happens? The monorail comes into station and the back is in the front and the front is in the back.
Mhm.
And they're immediately like, I now know you know everything. and I'm not going to question you anymore. Like, it's an immediate, like, okay, surefire, you get it. Oh, we have, for those in the video, of course, the audio won't know, we got a puppy that Victoria's getting licks, just constant little lickies from. It's so cute.
Hi, puppy.
You have been missed at home, I am sure. And so.
Oh yeah, he was very happy when I came, and I brought him Japanese treats, so he was very pleased.
Oh,
I get that. Absolutely. 100%. I did that for all my friends, but I'm an uncle for so many little nephews and nieces of all my friends' pets. So there was lots of that to do. All right, let's finish off here with what we always finish off with, which is the Astuter Computer Poem of the Week.
That's why I'm a router for me computer. Everybody needs a friend.
Oh, Astuter, it's so good to have you here as always. And let's see here, what do you have? Oh my goodness, so many licks. Victoria's getting just absolutely attacked. This is an HR concern.
Vicious attack dog. Yeah.
But anyway, no. We're gonna go to Astuter here, and it's perfectly fine. The puppy's so sweet. Oh my goodness, so many sweet kisses. That's more important than anything. I'm sorry, Astuter. Apologies. Let's see, Astuter, what do you have for us today? Let's see. Scooter charge at host. Chaos at Disney unfolds. Shirts fly. Arrests made. Oh, very good. Very good. Very nice and very true. Sadly.
Sadly.
To wrap up here, they mentioned, of course, one of the things mentioned, the theme park audio archive. Yes, you can find that. I've been working on that. That's at youtube.com/@themeparkAudioarchive. And recently, there's a link on there. I'm dealing with YouTube right now, but in honor of the Country Bears new show, I have created a Grizzly Hall Radio Hour, which is a sort of like a semi-play / a radio compilation of songs you might hear if there was a longer version of the Country Bear Jamboree. And
may I give you a quick testimonial?
Please.
So I was at work, and me and my aunt listened to it before we did interviews, and she didn't know what was going on. She knows nothing, honestly, but I'm like, this is lit.
It's great.
So I loved it. So yes, please.
I listened to it while I was working. It's amazing.
It was very well done.
Oh, thank you. So, it was a labor of. It was one of those ideas that has been in the back of my head for a long time. I kind of had a playlist of songs that I thought, it was called like other Country Bear songs, and I just sorely put that together, and then I was like, I'll put something together, and then I called it the Radio Hour, and then I was like, I need a lot more content, but it's fun. We have all sorts of country music and bluegrass in there, and honestly, it's kind of started tickling a new itch I have. I really am enjoying instrumental bluegrass recently, so it's calms me down, calms my southern fried heart down. But there's a link to it through a video on YouTube right now. Of course, YouTube has blocked it because they are total a-holes, and they're like, I had it unlisted, and they were like, it's fine, and then I published it. So anyway, it's on. Yeah, I agree, and it's but it's on Vimeo, and there's a link in there, and you can find it. I'm really, really happy. Dan Becker, Disney Dan Becker, who's been on this program, he shows up in a little cameo as well, and my wife does too, and it was a lot of fun to do, and I got done, and I was like, wow, I spent way more time on this than I probably should have. But
I'm a cameo.
Yeah, well, maybe there'll be another one someday. I've already been asked if I'm going to do more, if I should do a Tomorrowland one or something, and I was like, what?
Do a Big Thunder one.
I know. I just need to breathe for a little bit, and
you should.
It's I actually have work to do. Summers are great though. I tell you what, when you're a professor, you just make stuff for fun. But anyway, that's there if you want to check it out. You can find all of our Rat Castle stuff at ratcastlepod.com. And come over there. You can do the mailbag. We got merch. We got all sorts of stuff. And that's pretty much it from us. So go ahead and grab your belongings and exit to the left.
Will you stop this foolishness?
What foolishness would you like to see?
Will you get out of here?